I invite Priyanka. I invite Priyanka to do the welcome address. Priyanka, please.
Good evening, everyone. With great warmth and immense joy, I extend a heartfelt welcome to each one of you to this edition of Miraki, the Researchopedia, an academic initiative by the Community Nutrition Forum dedicated to exploring the many dimensions of science, health, and humanity. We are truly delighted to have your presence today as we dive into the theme, the NeuroEnvironment Nexus, a subject that bridges the intricate worlds of neurology, environmental influence, and holistic health. Your participation reflects a collective curiosity and a shared commitment to advancing knowledge in ways that truly matter. It is my honor to begin by welcoming our distinguished speaker, Dr. M. Raj Kumar, MBBS MD from JIPMA, MSc Yoga, a renowned clinical neurophysiologist, and assistant professor at the Department of Physiology, Savita Medical College and Hospital, SIMATS, Chennai. A prolific researcher and teacher, Dr. Raja Jayakumar has over a decade of academic excellence, 120 plus publications, and numerous national and international accolades to his credit. His pioneer work in integrating yoga and physiology, along with his visiting roles at prestigious institutions including NIT Trichy, BDU, and MDNIY, has made a lasting impact on global health discourse. We are deeply honored to have him lead today's session. We also warmly welcome and thank Dr. Sripriya Shaji, PhD, counseling psychologist and nutritionist, and founder of Srisha Counseling, Kozhikode, a beacon of community wellness and mental health advocacy. Her continued support and mentorship to Miraki has added invaluable depth and compassion to our journey. To all our respected members of the academic community, professionals from diverse fields, dear students, and esteemed guests, your presence here enriches this platform. Thank you for choosing to spend your evening with us in pursuit of deeper understanding and shared learning. Together, let us embark on insightful conversation that promises to spark thought, inspire change, and expand our awareness of how our environment shapes our neurological well-being. Once again, welcome to this evening's session. Let us learn, reflect, and grow together.
Thank you so much, Priyanka. Without further ado, I would like to invite Sir Dr. Rajakumar to take us through the session on neuroenvironment access. Over to you, Doctor.
It's a very good evening to Anantal. I am very happy to be one of the speaker over this forum. First of all, I have to thank the organizing committee member for a wonderful opportunity. Is it audible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
I think so. Okay, fine. So, may I share that PowerPoint? Can you give the access to share it?
Can you share now?
Yeah, the option is not here.
1 second, sir.
I will be able to share it because the screen is not visible for me.
The whole sharing is already given, sir.
Even better.
Permission is already given.
Okay. No, I wouldn't able to open the option. Can I send to your WhatsApp? Can you open it from your
Yes,
side?
sir. Yes, sir, please.
I think so. That's better. That's why I couldn't able to see that option over here.
Okay. Uh, you can try by logging out and logging again, sir.
Um,
Otherwise, you can send it to the
Oh,
WhatsApp. I can share also.
yeah, I will send to you. No problem.
Yes, yes.
Okay, it came to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got it.
Yeah, fine.
Give me 2 minutes. I'll just open.
From that you can open it. Okay, fine. So meanwhile, I will ask you, the members, most of them related to health, somebody is coming from out of that category. So that's why I need to ask you before going to start my session. Is it audible? My video also not working.
Sir, I think some problem with their video also.
Yeah, video is not also starting.
Yeah, you are audible to us, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Now I can see the. Can you a little bit enlarge it?
Yes.
F5, fine. Okay, fine. So, good evening to all. Today, the topic is NeuroEnvironment Nexus. So, we are going to explore the relationship between the environment factor, how it's going to affect your neurological health. So, everyone knows what is Nexus. Nexus means connection. So, we are going to check the connection between the neuro and environment. So, what is the relationship between the health and disease? Okay, fine. Can you go to the next slide, madam? So, what is the purpose of making this topic today? What is the relevant? This is my CV. You go to down. ah, so this is the synopsis I'm going to make it today. So, why this topic today? What is the relevance? Then introduction of the related topic. What is the ETO, pathophysiology and mechanism? How is going to produce the environment related neurological disorder, clinical futures, diagnosis, management, what is the limitation of this particular dysfunction recommendation? What kind of recommendation we are going to provide for that society? Come to the conclusion. Then a little bit related to recent research and what kind of research is going on related to this topic. Then finally come to the references. Right. So why this topic today? So nowadays you can see this the significant increased level of neurological problem due to this environmental factor. More than 1 billion people worldwide is affected. Recently, I have checked that between 2022 25, due to the rapid urbanization, industry, and climate change, which is going to be one of the very important risk factor associated with neurological problem. So, what kind of disease is going to be more prevalent? Particularly, you can see Alzheimer's, Parkinsonism, Parkinson, autism spectrum disorder, ASD, multiple sclerosis. So these are the very important diseases which is going to link with our environmental factors like air pollution, water pollution, endocrine disrupting chemicals, EDC. Nowadays, this is one of the very big topic for research. We are also doing this EDC, how this EDC is going to produce infertility. So That is also one of the, because it's going to change the hormonal imbalance. So the last one is climate induced stresses, particularly heat. That is also one of the factor. Okay, fine. Next. So come to the introduction. I already told that a neuro-environment nexus means the connection between the neuron and environment, how is going to produce this dysfunction in the brain. Environmental neuroscience is particularly is going to explore both acute and chronic reactions. Acute means short term, chronic means long term effect. So long term and short term effect, how is going to influence on our both central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Mostly this concept is multidimensional, particularly we have seen there's a lot of interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary research is going on, integrating with the toxicology, physiology, and neurology, um, genetics, and public health. So these are the domains are interlinked regarding this kind of topics. Next, man. Right. Come to the etiology. What is the reason for this kind of environmental factor is going to affect nervous system? The first foremost is chemical pollutant, particularly heavy metals like lead, mercury, arsenic, pesticides, industrial solvents. Another important factor, I have seen a lot of research paper related to PCP, phthalates, and microplastic. Microplastic, recently they have found that is going to produce, some of them they are going to use it cosmetics. So microplastic is also is going to one of the very important risk factor for producing carcinogenic effect or cancer producing agents, particularly those who are going to use cosmetics, particularly young adults, uh, other factors. So those who are going to use this kind of material which is going to produce cancer. Then air pollution, you have particulate matter 2.5 size, then nitrogen dioxide, ozone linked with the neuroinflammation and cognitive decline. Cognition means attention, memory, our brain function, attention, memory, retention. So everything will be declined because of the air pollution is going to induce neuroinflammation. Recent changes in climate change, heat stress also is going to produce dysfunction. In which way is going to produce neurovascular coupling, is going to affect neurovascular coupling, sleep regulation, diurnal variation, day and night variation, circadian rhythm. Then also is going to increase the neurological dysfunction like multiple sclerosis and stroke. I already told that this kind of endocrine disruptors, EDC, now the recent area for research, how is going to affect your brain function and also hormonal imbalance, which is going to affect your function. Next month. Other factors like noise and light pollution. Recently, we have started this kind of research. Particularly, we have seen noise-induced problems. Mostly, is going to have the impact on circadian rhythm, other day rhythm, sleep-wake cycle, then neuroendocrine regulation. Then it's going to affect your mental health. Foremost, always we are going to concern about diet and lifestyle. I think madam also is going to talk about a little bit diet and lifestyle after me. So how is going to be one of the factors, like particularly processed food, high glucose or fat diet, which is going to link with hippocampal dysfunction and neuroinflammation. The last but not least, stress. Psychosocial stress is always everyone having. It acts through hypothalamus pituitary axis. That head ganglion is hypothalamus, which is going to control your pituitary, anterior and posterior pituitary. This is going to be one of the major problem, which is going to be dysfunction. Then finally, the person is going to be mood and anxiety disorders. Okay. The next slide, ma'am. So recently we have seen some of the research paper they already published related to this kind of topic. So how this environmental neuroscience unravels the pathway from the physical environment to mental health. This topic is published in Nature Mental Health uh, in the year of 2024 recently. Next one, ma'am. The another paper was published in front eyes. This is air pollution and neurological disease. How is going to be interrelated? The current relevant topics they already published 2024. These are the very important research paper. Particularly, we can able to read the how is going to be impact is going to produce by this air pollution and neurological diseases. And next one, then another fact, another paper I have seen recently. This comes in behavioral science. The how this climate change or heat is going to affect your brain function and health. So these are the very important research paper in different type of domains. You can see air pollution, climate change. So this is going to be one of very important factor, environmental factors going to affect your mental and physical health. The next one. So you have seen that etiology or what are the causes for neuro-environmental connection is going to affect your mental health. Now we are going to see that mechanism, how this is going to be happen. What is the mechanism? First one is neuroinflammation. You know, inflammation, neuroinflammation is going to be activate microglia. Microglia is the brain cell. This is one of the uh, neuroglial cells. Mostly we have four type of cells: microglia, astrocytes, ependymal cells, and oligodendrocytes. The microglia is responsible for scavenger system like macrophages, which is going to scavenge any infection or inflammation comes to brain, which is going to be one of the immunomechanisms going to be activated. Astrocytes forms blood-brain barrier. It's a star-shaped cell which is going to form blood-brain barrier. So, what is the very important mechanism? This activation of neuroglial cells releases cytokines. Cytokines are chemical, particularly interleukin 6 and tumor necrosis factor alpha, which is going to damage the neurons. So, whatever inflammation come from the environment, this I told you, air pollution or noise pollution or whatever maybe is going to activate this kind of two cells, then release chemicals, which is going to affect neuron. Okay. Then when initially start with acute inflammation, which is long lasting, is going to be chronic inflammation that leads to neurodegeneration. The second mechanism we are going to see about oxidative stress. Already this mechanism already well defined in the researchers. Oxidative stress, particularly reactive oxygen species (ROS), is going to accumulate. So that's why what happens is going to produce DNA damage. Then lipid and protein peroxidation happens, leads to Alzheimer's and Parkinson. This is the mechanism going to behind the Alzheimer's and Parkinson. The third factor is mitochondrial dysfunction. So some of the toxins is going to disrupt that mitochondrial ATP protection and also is going to affect the metabolism, energy metabolism. So ATP transport chain, which is mostly present in the mitochondria. So that's why we are going to call mitochondria as energy house. So that's why what happens, this some of the toxins going to affect ATP production from the mitochondria, leads to mitochondrial DNA damage, and also along with cognitive impairment. I already discussed cognitive function means attention, memory, and retention. Next, ma'am. Epigenetic modification. Epigenetic means gene modification. So some of the toxins I already told this environmental toxins going to affect DNA methylation, then histone acetylation changes. This mostly happen in prenatal and early life exposure. So when maybe it sometimes happen intrauterine life also or in early exposure in during infant. So that kind of time what happens, some genetic modification happens due to this environmental factor is going to mutate. Then some of the example I told you, this ASD, autism spectrum disorder, schizophrenia, and mood disorder mostly comes under this kind of category. The next pathophysiology of mechanism is neuroendocrine dysfunction or dysregulation. Neuroendocrine because mostly all the brain functions, central nervous system is going to be regulated by or visceral function, hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is the head ganglion of all the nervous system. So it's going to control all our body. Mostly is going to control visceral functions. Most you can see this more than 15 functions going to control by our hypothalamus, including cardiovascular, respiratory, food intake, water intake, sexual function. Everything is controlled by hypothalamus through activation of pituitary gland. So some of the times is with some disruption happen in hypothalamo pituitary adrenal axis. Adrenal axis, you can see is going to produce adrenal gland is going to produce cortisol. That cortisol is one of the stress hormone. You may know that some most of the stress hormones in your life, um, adrenaline, noradrenaline, cortisol, thyroxine. So these are the very important stress hormone. Whenever you have the stress, this hormone level will be increased. Particularly cortisol is going to rise in early morning. I think so 4 o'clock, early morning, 4 a.m. So whenever you have the cortisol level more, you cannot able to sleep because it's one of the stress hormone is going to be make you awake, alert. So what is happening? Chronic stress. So that's why when the person having chronic stress or anxiety, he couldn't able to sleep because it's going to increase level of cortisol. That cortisol is one of the alert hormone or stress hormone. So that's why the person is not wouldn't be able to sleep properly. When the person is not able to sleep properly, he couldn't be able to maintain his mood swing be there, uh, then irritation should be there, then mostly the cognitive function, attention, memory, everything will be decreased because he couldn't able to sleep for more than 6 hours or 7 hours like this. The next factor is blood-brain barrier. So already I discussed astrocytes. It's a very important neuroglial cells is going to make blood-brain barrier. What is the meaning of blood-brain barrier? So the connections, you can see the blood and brains have some connection. The astrocytes is going to be regulate the connection. That means it only allows the particular substance pass through this barrier and enter into the brain. Mostly lipid soluble substance can pass through this barrier. Lipid soluble substance mean you can see vitamins A, D, E, K, bilirubin, all gases, O2, CO2, nitrogen. So this kind of particular selective substance can pass through the blood-brain barrier. This is formed by astrocytes. So what is happening here? The pollutants weakens for any air pollutant or whatever may be is going to weaken the blood-brain barrier integrity. So what happened is going to allow all the substance enter into the brain. So it's going to produce inflammatory reactions. Particularly is happening multiple sclerosis and neuroinfections. Last but not least, is altered neurodevelopment. It is mostly happening in utero or early childhood due to exposed to this environmental factors, lead, mercury, and PCB. So how is going to affect this neurodevelopment? Neurodevelopment is the development of the brain and also this is going to reduce the synaptogenesis. It's going to reduce the synapto means connections. The neuronal connection will be decreased. Impaired myelination. So myelination means that you have two type of myelination, central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. So central nervous system, the myelination mainly derived from oligodendrocytes. It's one of the neuroglial cells. For a cerebral nervous system, myelination mainly come from swan cells. So both are different myelination, different kind of cells. So what happened? Neurodevelopment, which is we exposed to this kind of toxins, is going to reduce the impair the myelination. So what is the importance of myelination? Is going to increase the conduction velocity of the neuron. So connection, how fast is going to contact. So the conduction system will be defective. So that's why the mental delay, developmental delay is happening because of impaired myelination. So some of the chemicals like particularly thyroxine play a major role for myelination. So that's why some people they have hypothyroidism or hypothyroidism happen in pregnant women, which leads to affect their children. So that's why the neurodevelopmental delays also happen due to hypothyroidism because thyroxine is a very important hormone for myelination. It's going to stimulate the myelination. So like this, so many factors going to play a major role. So once this happen, what is happening is going to low IQ. The IQ level is less and poor executive function, brain function. I told you cognitive function will be reduced, attention, memory, everything will be reduced because of this alert, this myelination and connection. Synapses means connection, neuronal connection. So it's going to conduct one impulse to another impulse. So for example, one neuron is activated, is going to connect to another neuron by through the connection. Axon, axonic or axodendritic connection will be there. Okay, fine. Next. So here I am going to discuss a little bit about gene environment interaction. Some of the disease more common happening here. You can see this one APOE is particularly is responsible from the air pollution exposure, which is going to increase the Alzheimer disease. This table, I just we can see this. I am going to show some of the neurological disorder, what is the key environmental factor or contributor which is going to be produce this kind of problem, and along with some mechanism. The first we will take ASD, autism spectrum disorder. The key environmental factor is prenatal exposure to valproate, sodium valproate. Mostly they are going to be anti-epileptic drug for fits they are going to give. So that kind of complication happen. Then they are toxins. What kind of mechanism is going to be activated? Epigenetic and neuroinflammatory. Alzheimer's disease, particulate matter 2.5 size, heavy metals, sedentary lifestyle, which is going to be affect this kind of problem. Mechanism oxidative stress, blood-brain barrier disruption. Next one is Parkinson. Mostly is come from pesticides because going to produce mitochondrial damage. So, next one is stroke. Stroke is the most common disease. Air pollution, particularly this heat stress, which also is going to produce stroke because it's going to produce vascular dysfunction and blood coagulation. Coagulation means is increased coagulation of blood because heat. Whenever the heat will be more, what is happening here? Lot of water will be evaporated, so our blood volume will be reduced. So once the blood volume will be reduced, the protein like content will be increased. So two type of pressure will be there. Your hydrostatic pressure and oncotic pressure. Hydrostatic means the pressure come from water. Oncotic means the pressure come from protein. So because of less water due to the heat, what happened? This decrease hydrostatic pressure and increase oncotic pressure, blood coagulation take place because the protein level will be more. Multiple sclerosis is mostly due to vitamin D deficiency and smoking. Nowadays, everyone started smoking, even though females also started. So that's why the vitamin D deficiency, and also they are having osteoporosis after menopause. So these are the very important predisposing factor for multiple sclerosis. So the mechanism is similar to dysregulation. Next slide, please. Sometimes you can see I have discussed prenatal and early childhood, and the neurodevelopmental is most sensitive to environmental insults because their neuron is very sensitive. So that's why they are going to affect. Adolescent, this period is maturation takes place. So that's why they are more vulnerable for substance abuse like alcohol or something, smoking, etc. Old age, because of the neurodegeneration, which is going to accelerate the neuromental stressors and comorbidities. So these are very important factors. Then what are the protective and modifiable factors which is going to be discussed today? Nutritional antioxidants. If you are going to take omega-3 fatty acids or vitamin E, which is going to prevent this kind of problem. Physical activity, particularly is going to promote brain-derived neurotrophic factor and synaptic plasticity. Plasticity means adaptation. So how this synaptic means connection. So how is going to be adapt the connection? The very important factor nowadays we are doing mind body practice yoga, which is going to modify your stress factors. And not only yoga, you can do any other relaxation technique, gardening, water swimming, exercise, water. Maybe you can do that. Then you have to take clean air, safe water, green environment, which is going to be one of the very important protective modifiable factor for this kind of problems. So next slide, please. Right. What are the symptoms and signs we are going to see some particular cases? You can see heavy metals exposure mostly is going to affect your brain function, attention, memory, and cognition, and peripheral neuropathy. So symptoms mostly poor memory and muscle weakness. Because of peripheral neuropathy, your muscle weakness will be there. Neuromuscular connection will be defective. Air pollutant like particulate matter 2.5 and nitric hydrogen dioxide. So also going to produce stroke and dementia. So symptoms like headache, fatigue, confusion may have. EDC, endocrine disrupting chemicals. Mostly associated disorder is ASD and ADHD. ASD means autism spectral disorder. ADHD, attention deficit hyperactive disorder. Attention deficit hyperactive disorder. See, the both are very common in ADC because it's going to imbalance your hormonal level. That's why it's behavioral issue, poor focus will happen. Then very, very common in our India is OP poisoning, organophosphate. because they are going to farmers, they are going to use more kind of uh, pesticides is organophosphorus. So that's why they, you can see the last of lot of people, common people, they will come with Parkinsonism and seizure because of they are using this organophosphorus OP poisoning. Tremors and muscle rigidity happen. Nowadays, this increase in environmental factor, heat stress, which is going to affect neurovascular dysfunction, particularly coupling reaction. So that's why it's going to produce fatigue and sleep disturbance. Sometimes it's going to produce stroke. Okay, fine. So how to diagnose? You can have a lot of tools to diagnose. The first one is biomarker analysis. You can take the blood or urine for heavy metals like lead, mercury, and other etc. Neuroimaging technique, MRI, for inflammation. fMRI, which is going to helpful to find out cognitive dysfunction. Cognitive mapping. For example, functional MRI. That means we are going to take fMRI, functional MRI, which part of the brain is going to be active. Means that particular brain is going to be get more blood flow. So that's why whenever you are going to take fMRI, that particular area, for example, you can see temporal lobe or frontal lobe or parietal lobe, which is more functioning. If your frontal lobe is more functioning, that area is going to get more blood supply. So whenever you're going to take fMRI, that area will be focusing. So that is fMRI. Nowadays they change to PET scan also, positron emission tomography. PET scan also they are doing. Then neuropsychological tests. These are the questionnaire tests. So it's good just for assessment. So we cannot able to confirm by using this test, but we can add it at a extra additional effect for only screening purpose, not for confirmation. Confirmation we have to do other test also. So the first one is mini mental scale examination. Is mostly they will do. Then Montreal Cognitive Assessment (MOCA) nowadays is very popular. Then Stoop test, this very color test. For example, they are written in they write in the letter black, 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 but the color will be green. So whether the person is going to have what kind of assessment, whether he has to read the color or he has to read the letter like this. That is true test. Then other important test, geospatial exposure mapping. That means geographic information system, which is going to map the air quality in a particular area. If you are going to do this GA mapping in Delhi, this most common polluted area, then go to the other places like Bangalore or Chennai or somewhere, then it's going to give that how much pollution air present in this particular city. So that kind of geospatial exposure mapping also we can do and find out the person is come from which part of the area. We can easily understood that okay, so this is maybe due to air pollution or something like this. Then finally come to our physiology, electrophysiology. So we are doing EEG and EMG, electroencephalography and electromyography, which is going to check your brain function and also muscle function. Then one more thing is NCV, nerve conduction study also we are doing. Next, how to manage this kind of problem. So first one is preventive approaches. Mostly you have to prevention is better than cure. So start with prevention. So you have to check with the air and water quality monitoring the your surrounding places. Then policy driven removal of neurotoxic substances. If any factory is nearby your places, so how they are removing the toxin come from the uh, factory, whether they are moving safely or what kind of protocol they are using. They are following the SOP, systematic operating procedure like this. You have to check that. Then planning, urban planning, and reduce the heat island. So if somebody they want to destroy the forest, so what is happening? The trees level will reduce that. That's where the heat kind of things happening. Then public education campaign. So you have to do this awareness program for the people, students, and other factors through social media or any kind of media you can able to do it. You can do that. The next one, then what kind of intervention we can make? For example, you have this kind of problem. So what kind of intervention treatment? So chelating therapy. Chelating means we are going to neutralize the therapy. Okay. So acute heavy metal toxicity, if any having any heavy metal toxicity like mercury or something lead, so we need to add another chemical to neutralize the toxin like this. Then we have discussed antioxidant supplementation with particularly vitamin E and N-acetylcysteine. So these are the very important antioxidant property which is going to reduce your inflammation and neuro rehabilitation. So once your brain function is affected, we need to give cognitive behavioral therapy, previously known as counseling. Nowadays, we have replaced with the cognitive behavioral therapy and neurofeedback therapy. The very important one is lifestyle modification. This is very important. So we have to diet, exercise, yoga, and other factors. This is going to be maintained. Next one. So what is the limitation which where we cannot able to do something? Some interventions failures. We could be able to come for this conclusion. Particularly latency period. Some kind of neurodegeneration may manifest year after exposure. It takes more time to exposure. They have that symptoms will take more time to expose. So that way you wouldn't able to find out. So masking effect will be there. Okay, that means asymptomatic patient. Normally, they have the disease, but we didn't able to find out due to this. There is no symptom and sign for longer duration. That is also one of the very difficult condition. Then population variability because of the genetic and socioeconomic differences. So we cannot able to give uniform assessment for each and every population. Then data gaps. So we couldn't able to take more data from rural and urban area. Some variability will be there. Underreporting. So lot of times we couldn't able to get uniform data because underreporting. So that's why we couldn't able to do the surveillance properly and take the step for necessary action. So next one. So what is our recommendation? So our recommendation is develop neuroenvironmental health registries, which is going to helpful to monitor and promote interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary training for medical and environmental persons. Strengthen global collaboration through WHO and UNEP. Integrate environmental history into clinical practice. So now we need to take care of our environment like our body. Enhance public awareness through schools, social media, etc. Next one, come to the conclusion. So, what is our take home message from this discussion? So, environmental factors, very importantly, is going to be underappreciated contributor of neurological disease. Mostly, we are to discuss about disease, infection, so stress factor, but environmental factors leastly underestimated. So very less research is going on nowadays. They are having some awareness. They started with the research. Then I have searched a little bit 2020 to 25 what kind of problem is happening in this evidence. So what is very important factor to intervene to maintain the neuro-environmental connection. So this is a very important factor is integrative approach. It's not alone one person is going to make it. Have the integrated approach to multidisciplinary persons. They have to sit together and making the policy, doing the research and educate and do the intervention to prevent the future risk for health. The last slide. Okay, so some of the questions and answer I have seen with the common people they may ask you. So can common air pollutant which is going to affect your brain function? Yes, particularly you can say particulate matter 2.5 and nitrogen dioxide, which is going to reduce your cognitive function, even though the common air pollution which is going to affect your brain function. What role of EDC? EDC means endocrine disruption chemicals play in childhood. Okay, because it's going to happen hormonal pathway. I told you hormonal disruptors. Otherwise known as endocrine or hormonal disruptors, the chemical which is going to make hormonal imbalance. Particularly is going to affect neural development. It is happening in IUD, intrauterine life. Sorry, intrauterine life. So it's going to produce ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or autism. Sometimes they may ask this neurotoxins we have talked about more toxins, whether it's reversible or irreversible. Some of them is reversible, but some of them is very irreversible. So that's why we need to create yearly screening, awareness, intervention, and also we have to take more amount of antioxidants and neuroplasticity based training, which is going to reduce the further exposure. So any kind of future technology which is going to find out for the field or is going to help for the research or something. So wearable exposure monitors, AI for artificial intelligence is everywhere now. So AI risk protection, and biomarker integrated diagnostic, which is going to helpful for find out early screening and diagnostic, which is going to be intervene very early, then prevent the future complications. So I think so. I have completed my topic. So if you have any queries, please ask me. I'm very happy to answer for this one. Thank you, Ananda.
Thank you so much, sir, for that highly illuminating talk. You really lit us up with so many concepts you introduced that actually we didn't know at all. We now open the floor to a brief Q&A session. If anybody has any doubts, anything to ask, sir.
Good evening, sir. Thank you
Yeah,
for
good evening, ma'am.
the session. So the basic
Yeah,
question
thank you.
every time when we come across younger people, even adults nowadays, are asking, like they are using the LED screens or the blue light screens. They are saying so many things which cannot affect my eyes and all those things. No. So is there any measured impacts of all the screens in regulating
Yeah,
sleep or neural?
yeah. Particularly we are talking about screen timing. You can see how much time you are going to see the screen time is very important factor. For the some people, they are previously what happened. Now we will go to one movie, watch 2.5 hours, one movie. Okay, fine. That kind of patient will be reduced. Now they want to use only short term video, right? Reels only they are seeing. So the screening time and also display also is less, which is going to affect their visual. That one pathway is there more normally visual hypothalamic pathway, which is going to start with vision, which is going to affect your hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is the center for your central nervous system control. So that is the retino-hypothalamic pathway. Retina means start from the eye, which is going to affect your hypothalamus. That hypothalamus is going to control your hormone level. So that's why the screening time and also the filtering, whatever mechanism they are going to use it nowadays, it depends on the time duration and also how much time you are going to see that particular thing. Whether you are going to use the short videos or short time span, we are going to change so many things. So that screening swapping time also play a major role for this kind of dysfunction, man.
Thank you, sir. Sir, one more thing. Is there any early warning signs we can tell our people to just look in for so that you can get to correct it in the early stages?
Mostly awareness, madam. So problem is there means now every day, every home we are having mobile, Android mobile. The children also they started seeing this mobile. So, for example, after Corona only we increased because after Corona everyone went for online classes. So everyone they have to use this kind of gadgets to learning purpose. But unfortunately, what is happening is going to be addiction. So that's the problem for them. Thus, we need to educate proper awareness for school children or college children, adults, whoever may be. But it's mostly come through this self-discipline
Okay.
and also responsibility. So we need to teach our students, our daughters and sons, particularly self responsibility and awareness, which is going to be very important. Rather than we cannot able to compel them or we are going to be forceful particular things, but we have to explain this kind happening. Then in future we will have this kind of problem, neuroendocrine dysfunctions. So mostly hormonal imbalance. Nowadays we have seen a lot of people they are coming with hormonal imbalance. Students they are having menstrual cycle variability, shorter and longer cycle, infertility. So many things coming now, sleep disturbance. So many things happening because of this kind of thing. So we need to create awareness rather than we are scolding our students and children's in an angry way. Better we need to show them this kind of thing is going to have some long term, short term effect for your health. So we make them understand and make them responsible. That is very important rather than going to force it anything, madam.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I think there is a question in chat box. Please up.
Yeah, wait a minute, but I will go through this. Okay, fine. Pesticides in vegetables can induce neuro problem. Yes, correct, madam. Yes, pesticides in vegetables is also one of the toxins, but the amount will be depends on what kind of pesticide they are going to use, what kind of concentration they are going to use. So depends on that. So that's why mostly we need to avoid this kind of pesticides. But in this condition, in this real world, is very difficult for that farmers to avoid this kind of pesticides. So, but some kind of toxins will be there, whatever they are going to use it. So, minimal amount of exposure will be there, madam. Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank you
you,
so much
sir.
for that. Any other questions from the participants?
If possible, you can share the PowerPoint to the others, but if they want to have any other clarification, so very happy to share the PowerPoint to others also. If they are having any query and clarification in future, they may ask. No problem.
Definitely, sir. Definitely. We'll also like recorded the video of the session. It will be uploaded in our YouTube channel for everyone to watch.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, fine.
Thank you, sir.
So thank you one and all. This is a very good opportunity for me to discuss with you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. I call upon Sandhya to deliver the vote of thanks. Sandhya, please.
Good evening, everyone. Myself, Sandhya, and on behalf of all participants, I'm really glad to be here to express my vote of thanks. First, I thank our chief guest, Dr. Raja Jayakumar Madivil, sir, for accepting our invitation and for being here with us today. Your session have truly inspired us, sir. We feel enlightened and know about so many environmental factors that affect toxins. Thank you, sir. And I thank Researchopedia Meraki team for arranging this session. And my sincere thanks to all participants who made this event a memorable one. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am, for wonderful words.
Thank you so much, sir. Once again, thank you everybody for joining in. Have a wonderful evening.
Thanks you.
Thank you all. Have a great day, great weekend.
Good night to all.